Hi, this is Tanya again from NWOET, and I am going to continue in this series about Google Core Tools, the integration side, so the next level. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about Google Sheets. And in the Google Sheets basic video, I did get into some of these terms as well, because I tend to wander into other things as I'm looking at them and navigating through the sheet. So I introduced some of these things in there as well, but it wouldn't be bad to repeat some of these next level tools within the correct video, which is next level. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to freeze cells and how it looks within data that's already entered into a spreadsheet. I'm also going to show you an instance of where merge would come in handy. I'm going to demonstrate how to do wrap text, and also a lot of times I'm wanting to do line breaks, and I'm going to show you how to do that with a very quick shortcut. Then I'm going to demonstrate some of the formulas, show you where charts and graphs are, and then I'm going to offer some integration ideas in an association with templates, some ideas of how students can use it or you can use it. So you can use it for rubrics or grade books. Students could use it for research to document all their research topics, books, organize them. Maybe they have some observations that they made and they can organize those and find some comparisons to them through sorting, and so on. And then I'm going to show you a really neat tool at the end that's called Flippity that hopefully will be helpful with your students in your classroom. The first thing that I want to show you is the freeze cell view. And the reason I say it that way is because that's where it's listed. It's under view. Now, I know that there's some limitations to the Google spreadsheet freeze option, as opposed to using the Microsoft Excel. So I just found a list here. Maybe I want to narrow things down or freeze them or be able to look at other things based on the rest of the sheet. So I can freeze the date, go up here, view, freeze, and I can freeze it by row, 1 row, 2 row, up to current row, no columns, 1 column, 2 columns, up to column. So I'm going to say up to column. And now anything that I scroll left on will have the date that will not move, but everything else will move. So the other thing that might come in handy is the name of the person or the district. So I could put that cell up there, and I can go into view, freeze, and then up to that column, and then I can explore it more based on the district. So I can be moving and scrolling and have it right there. Now that one didn't make as much sense because it had so much room, but you can see how you can change that based on the view and then the freeze up to E. Okay, so you can change up to a certain point. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is the merge option. Sometimes we'll put a title on a sheet and we want to make things look a little less like a spreadsheet with the cells and the rows and the columns. So what you can do is connect a whole bunch of cells and maybe even portions of the row. Let's see what's going to do. It's going to do since I have data in these rows. And then I can just go over to here and say merge horizontally, merge vertically, or merge all. And when I merge all, now it moves my title around. So now I can format that title with all of my wonderful basic skills that I learned in the previous video in the Google Tools basics. Okay, so sometimes when we type or we copy and paste information into a cell, it is too much for that cell the way that cell is formatted. So if I'm typing something and typing something and typing something, it's going on and on and on. And when I click out of it, it looks like it falls over into the other column. So what you can do is select that, or you can even select the entire column to be able to format it for that. But I'm going to go over to the text wrapping and select the text wrap, and it puts it down in rows like that. So the text wrapping option comes in handy. Also along with the vertical align, if I want it to be down to the bottom or if I want it to be centered. I can alter those as well. Formulas are a big part of Google Sheet integration. I know that I use Google Sheets and formulas and scripts a lot depending on what I have to do. The thing about Google Sheets, and I think I said this in the basic video, is that there's so much that you can do with it that it's intimidating. So when it comes to being able to teach you a formula or something a little specific to one of the tasks I've had to do for other school districts, it's difficult because it's not the same every time. Not everybody wants the same script. Not everybody wants the same thing to happen in their Google spreadsheet. So I thought I'd show you just the basic equations, where they are and where they're located. So here I have a whole bunch of numbers. And in the beginning one, I showed you how you can enter numbers by entering, tabbing across, using your arrows. The things that I didn't show you were that you can move certain things. So if I have this, any of these, you see how my cursor changes into a glove. That allows me to be able to move that thing wherever I want to move it. Same with this one. So if I want to do an equation on something or a formula on something, I'm going to show you average and I'm going to show you total. So if I want this one to be the average, I'm going to go up to the little icon up here and I'm going to do average. So it's like the average of what? And so I'm just used to grabbing these, and then as soon as I'm done, I'm going to hit enter. So it's going to show the average of the tickets that were sold by our classroom. Now, same thing with total. Now, I always label things so that we know what they are, and then the equation is in here. The thing about the equations being entered underneath the information into the title bar up here, I can see exactly what that script is for that equation. So I would always put equals, that's how you start them, type in average, you got your parentheses, and then your range for your data that you're going to enter into that formula. So if I go to total, right now there's nothing in there, no answer in here, so I can go back up to and do sum, because I want the sum of everything. So the sum, so equal sum, and then what's going to go in between my data range of my parentheses. So I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm going to hit enter, and that totaled them up for me. I have this a lot of these basic equations working for some of my information in totaling hours, counting things, but then I have some more advanced things that are within some of my other sheets. So this is a sheet that I have my Google form feeding into. So this is the normal sheet that I've shown you in the Google form video of that's where the data goes, the responses go. I've added an additional sheet down here by hitting my plus sign, and I've called it calculations. I have it pulling in a query of the form responses 1. So you can see all of my information up here that I've typed in, and I've just kind of put an unlimited number of how it's going to pull in that information. So it's going to be through E, because that's all my demographics that I need for it. So this is basically going to be used in an autocrat form. I'm not going over autocrat today, but that's why it's only pulling timestamp, email, score, first name, and last name from the previous information. But I've also added an array formula in an if-then statement for how to calculate the percentage of what they get on their score. And it's going to calculate that percentage out of 24 points. And then the certificate is the portion of autocrat that if they achieve a score of 70 or actually 80 or higher, then it's going to be yes or no that they're going to get a certificate. So if it's above 80 and above, it's going to be yes, and if it's below, it's going to be no. So the another array, so all of these are arrays, another array is going to say if they do achieve that, then it's going to be yes. If it's going to be yes, it's going to be 1 contact hour. If it's no, it's going to be 0. And then this one is just an array to fill in. If they do achieve it, it's for the module called Google Core Next Level Integration Tool. So this is kind of how I'm doing your guys' certificates to receive those from the assessment from watching these modules. Okay, now I've put another column of data in my sheet so I can show you how to insert a chart or a graph. Now, the data that I have in here are tickets sold and name, and I probably would have them reversed. You're going to have your data in here a different way. You're going to have different data in there, and you're going to think about, how do I want to display that data? So when I go into insert and then chart, it automatically gives me a image of the names and then how many were sold along with that. So yeah, and it actually isn't given the data that I had thought it was going to give, because I'm guessing it's due to the information that I could change over this way. So I could change away from pie chart to maybe a bar chart or a combination of things, a line. And actually that's data that doesn't display very well. So you have all these options for the kind of chart that you have. And then you have the data range that I've already selected. It's doing tickets sold for the main portion of it. And I can change information on the chart itself. And then I have these dots that I can edit chart, delete chart, download as an image. So I can do all these different things with it. I just wanted to generate something within the, with a chart so that you can see some of the functions. So I can go through all of these options here, switch rows, and that made everything awful. Switch rows and columns, because obviously all my data is in the rows and not the columns. And then I can change the value of what I'm doing. So you can see that all the data is in there, and then I can customize each thing based on like the legend. What do I want the legend to be? What do I want the chart axis titles to be? What do I want the pie slice to be? So you can create any kind of preferences or special customization for any of these things in there. So you can insert a chart and then have all the options there with the data that you have input. So now I'm going to talk about the integration ideas. Now, normally when I start my Google Sheets, or I try to create a brand new one or open an old one, I go to my Google Drive. But if you want to look at the templates, there's 2 ways that you can do it. You can go here to the Sheets, and you can go to the top here, and you can either do blank, or you can go to the template gallery to be able to see all the options under general of what they have available for you. So that's how you can use templates. And some of the templates are going to be grade books or rubrics or to-do list or budgets or whatever you're going to need to achieve through that. And they even break it down into work, personal, education, so you can see what they have available for you. So using Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Slides, you can always repurpose them for whatever you like. I've seen people use Google Sheets as posters or word processing documents and just remove the lines when they print it, because it has more of a blueprint option where you can break cells down, pull them together, merge them, and make things fit a little bit better than in the Google Docs, because in Google Docs, the option of, arranging images is tricky to do. So if you do it within a Google spreadsheet, it's easier. So you could have students create posters or presentations within Google Sheets, which is not meant for that, but it is a way that you can utilize that. You could also use it for book reports. Students could enter their information in about the book report. You could give them a template that has the columns and the titles of what you want them to include about their book. You could do an assessment. Of course, Google Forms is more for that, but you could have them fill in data that would assess them on the process of something that they're doing, scientific reporting, lab reporting, that kind of stuff with data. The other thing that you can do is a research project. So the students could put all of their research in there, so they could have books, citation, an annotated bibliography of that, and all of that information would be included within that spreadsheet, so that when it came time to write their research paper, it would be very simple and easy to pull that information out. Okay, the last integration piece I want to show you in regards to Google Spreadsheet is something called Flippity. It has gotten popular over the years, and it's actually evolved into a very powerful tool and a very powerful resource, because when you go to their website now, it used to be you'd have to install a add-on into Spreadsheet, and you would walk through kind of the same process, but now they've simplified it with their website. So when you go to flippity.net, you can see all the options that they have. They have, you know, as I scroll through here, I can find the one that I like, and maybe I'm going to choose this game board. And each one of these has the demo, the instructions, and the template. So I'm going to demo it. So I click on demo. World capitals. What capital city opened the first subway in 1863? I click on it, and it has the right answer. So I can keep score and say team 1 got it right. So you can keep score of that. And if I click on it again, it takes me back to the game board. Okay, and so we just kind of continue to do that in keeping track of the score. Now it's not really anything automated. It's being controlled by either the students. We could, as you're going to see here in a little bit, we can edit it so that the students could be doing this by themselves and calculate how many points that they have correct. We could do it as a class in front of the entire, on the whiteboard, and have the students contribute in that way. So now that I'm back at Flippity, that same quiz show, I can go to the instructions and see exactly how to do it. And in fact, they have the template right here as well, which is, as you see in the options, that's the other thing that I can click on is template. So if you're interested in doing any of these, you can go to the instructions, open up the template. You're going to be forced to make a copy of it. And then as it makes a copy, the next thing it's going to ask you is to, well, I would rename it, because that's best practice. You should always rename things. Now, the one thing you don't want to do in any of these templates, and I'm sure that the instructions tell you this as well, is you don't want to edit anything in the blue. It's spinning pretty bad here. So you don't change anything in the blue, but everything in the middle you can change. So I could change my categories from world capitals, The Simpsons, movies. I can do it whatever I like there. And what English word for desert means foot, I could remove that, and then I could put a different question in there. So you got question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, and that's how it pulls that data. So when you're finished, you can get the link. The link to your Flippity quiz show is right here. And that's the one that you would offer to your students or utilize during your classroom. So the last thing that I wanted to show you was the option for the scripting. So if I have the tools, I have that script editor, and you can click on that. That is the portion that allows you to do an ungodly amount of things within the sheets. So that also includes if I have a Google form that's feeding data into a spreadsheet, that I can do a lot with that as well. So you might want to explore the options of being able to script some things within your Google spreadsheets. So that's Google Spreadsheets, the next level, the integration portion of it. And I hope you learned a little bit more than the basics than you already did. And if not, hopefully Flippity will be a good tool for you to use with your classroom to have some fun and gamify it. So if you need any more help with Google Spreadsheets, the basics, or in the integration, you can email me at sanders@nwoet.org. It's been great. I've enjoyed it. Thanks.